DeKalb, Illinois used to be a house of horrors for the Toledo Rockets, but lately they've had some success over at the home of the Northern Illinois Huskies as we welcome in Mike Robinson from Toledo Rocket Radio Network. Mike Rob, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark.
Before we get into this matchup with NIU, we do need to go back and a game against Buffalo, which is largely forgettable as UT's inability to run the ball, particularly in the first half, dug them a hole they could not dig out of.
Yeah, you know, having a bruised up, banged up running back room, and especially when that's wanted to be your identity, you know, that's never boding well. You know, you got really good running backs in this room, but at the same time, you know, some of these guys don't have the experience. You know, we look at Connor Walton-Zach, he's a really good runner. You look at Clark, he's a great runner too. He made a few catches up the backfield. But also with a young offensive line, you still need a little bit of zip and zazz. So not having Jacquez Stewart out there also hurt, and also Willie Shaw. So it was a tough game back there, but I think this is something that could be cleaned up.
Is there a concern that Stewart and Shaw could be long-term injuries and Rockets could be without them for a significant period of time?
You know what? You never know until the script comes out on Friday or Saturday when they make the roster comes out. But you know what? I think that even if it is long-term, I think Walton-Zach is good enough to continue to get better as the season goes on. But the one thing that you got to worry about is the offensive line. You know, You've not been so healthy there. You've been getting banged up a little bit. So how do you keep consistency within that room? Or do you flip the script and air it out?
Well, that leads us to the next question, because Tucker Gleason did leave the game against Buffalo. They brought in John Allen Richter, the second-string quarterback, and he led them to a pair of touchdowns, hooking up with Jerron Newton on both of those scores. And now there's maybe a question as who's going to be the quarterback this week against Northern Illinois.
I think when Jar stepped in the game, I think everybody was super excited. His sidelines was kind of down for a little bit, and then when he got in the game, I saw a whole new life jump on the sidelines where everybody kind of roots for the guy to hop in. I saw the same thing happen when DQ was at QB and Tucker hopped in for the first time, and he got a big win at Eastern Michigan in one time. And then you also look here. You know, this is a very proud room. You got really good quarterbacks, a really good football team. But if he's on the field, I think that they can throw the ball extremely well. This guy throws the ball as good as anybody I've seen. I've always said that Toledo's always had great backups ready to be starters. This kid is good enough to get the job done if his number is called.
One of the positives out of the loss to Buffalo, certainly the play of Max and Hook. He's been solid all year long in that secondary, and he came up big against the Bulls.
You know, Maxon Hook is one of my favorite players. He's got one of the best names all time, too. But at the end of the day, without him on the field, you know, you can struggle. And obviously him having a season high of tackle, career high with 15 tackles. I mean, a safety flying all over the place. I watched Maxon in the secondary breaking up passes down the field. The very next play, he's stuffing a run on a 4th down and goal. You know, this is a really good football player, and having him on the field is necessary if the Rockets want to win.
Many years ago in high school, in Mr. Sanders' geometry class, we learned about the transitive property of A is bigger than B, and B is bigger than C, then A is bigger than C. And I immediately grasped that doesn't work for sports. Now, just because Toledo lost to Buffalo and Buffalo beat Northern Illinois doesn't mean Toledo's automatically going to lose to Northern Illinois.
Absolutely not. You know, this is a very, very pivotal game for the Rockets, and who knows what's going to happen here. This is a game where, you know, I feel like Coach Hammock does a really good job of scheming things up the way they play Bowling Green. Very vicious on the defensive side. Yeah. I think we're going to see the same thing. I think Coach Candle's ready for that, especially if you got a quarterback in that is going to get his first start. I think you could see some pressure coming his way as expected, but that's why the ground game is so important. Toledo gets into 12 personnel. They're able to ground and pound, but when you go to NIU, this is a hard place to play because they like it the harder way, you know, and this is an environment that I think the Rockets can handle. But again, their fans are right on your back. It's going to be intense, so they're going to have to come locked in, ready to roll.
And that Huskies defense has been impressive all season long and looked really good against Bowling Green last week.
Impressive. It's the least to say. I mean, I think they got some NFL guys on their defensive line. They're able to play very physical. You could tell they're a veteran group. They understand. They communicate very well. So this is a team that the Rockets are going to have to be prepared for. But I also think that our receiving core is one of the best in the nation. So I think this is going to be a battle of attrition in the secondary. And if the Rockets can get a little bit of a run game going, which I'm not too concerned anymore about, that pass game is going to be there for the taking. I mean, honestly, you had 2 quarterbacks throw for over 150 yards. That's impressive in a game.
And Jason Candle on the milestone watch. He is sitting at 69 victories. It'd be doubly sweet to get number 70 at Northern Illinois and keep the Rockets' MAC playoff hopes alive. I want to thank our guest, Mike Robinson, from the Rocket Radio Network, for joining us. Thanks, Mike Rob.
Thanks for having me.